What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the most extreme Megane RS you can buy right now, the RS Trophy R. This is currently the fastest front-wheel drive production car on the Nürburgring. Yes, this car beat the Civic Type R, and even though this might look like a standard Megane RS, this car has gone through extensive changes. And let's start reviewing all the changes brought to the RS Trophy R right here up front. And as you can see, the very cool looking fog lights of the regular RS Trophy are now gone and they have been replaced by cooling ducts. The bonnet is now made out of a carbon composite material. It's vented to allow even more cooling in the engine bay, and the front brakes are now bigger. Moving on. The back windows are made out of thin glass, the wheels are wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires. Gone is the rear wheel steer system of the RS Trophy, and the entire suspension system has been changed, and it now features manually adjustable onlins, dampers and lightweight springs. But that's not all. At the back, the car features a huge carbon fiber diffuser, which is 30% bigger than the RS Trophy one, and it's twice as effective. And right there in the middle, as you can see by the logo, this car has a full Akrapovic exhaust. And last but not least, this car no longer has a rear window wiper for weight saving purposes, of course. On the inside, the back seats are now gone and they have been replaced with basically a storage for the 20K carbon wheels if you're crazy enough to buy them. In the front, as you can see, there's 6-point harnesses, fixed racing bucket seats, an Alcantara steering wheel, and even the infotainment system has been replaced with the smaller one in order to save 250 grams. These Renault folks are crazy. But I guess now it's time to see how this thing drives. What? The seatbelt warning sign, but I have seatbelts. Well, what's the point of adding 6-point harnesses, Renault, if you can't use them? Oh, so annoying. Well, I guess this will have to do. Anyway, back to the car. And there's only one word to describe how this Trophy R feels when you're driving it fast. Amazing! I've been very fortunate in the past 2 years to be able to drive most of the new hot hatches on the market. Ford Focus ST, the Fiesta ST, the Golf R, Golf GTI, GTI TCR, and so on. And I have to admit that this car is not only better than all of them, but it's better by a mile. As soon as you climb into the car, these seats hug you into place, the exhaust barks like a madman no matter what driving mode you're in, and as soon as you start to drive off, the suspension is gonna start breaking your back like there's no tomorrow. But bear with me, I'll explain why the suspension is by far my favorite thing about this car. The way the Trophy R grips to the road is unlike anything I've ever experienced. The dampers have very little travel, but still they deal perfectly with uneven surfaces. This might sound like a cliche, but the Trophy R is just like a go-kart. The ride is firm as hell, but at the same time, and I'm not really sure how to properly explain this, it's quite refined. The damping feels sophisticated, for a lack of a better term. Usually when cars come with very stiff suspension systems, they all do have some drawbacks. Like for example, when you'd hit a pothole, you'd feel a jolt that would send vibrations throughout the car's body, and at the same time you'd also hear a sound like someone would smash your car with a hammer. But in this car, you feel and hear nothing of sorts. There's no loud noises coming from the dampers, no jolts, no vibrations, nothing. The car's suspension system handles any surface you throw at it with ease. The Trophy R changes direction so fast that your body can't keep up with that. Say you have a left turn up ahead that you want to tackle at high pace, and even though you mentally prepare for that turn and prop up your body accordingly, when you turn the steering wheel, the car turns in so fast that the G-forces it generates will make it impossible for you to react in time. It's fantastically engaging, this car, to drive fast. It's so much fun. And even though it's lost the rear wheel steering, this Trophy R feels much more agile than the regular Trophy. It feels light and nimble, and when your Chris Harris instincts start to kick in, you can even get this car sideways if you apply lots of throttle in a hairpin. The steering is pretty good, its weight is judged perfectly, it's not too light, it's not too heavy. I adore the Alcantara steering wheel, I adore Alcantara everything, to be honest, but that's a different story. The seats are super comfortable, and thank God I went from damp to fluffy, otherwise I don't know if I would have fit in them. The exhaust is amazing, like I've said, it's made by the masters themselves, Akrapovic. It makes the car sound very angry, almost like a rally car. It's loud all the time, but when you put the car in sport or race mode, the crackles and pops start to come into play, and they're also quite loud. I can't really tell you about the aero of the car, how it works and so on, but what I've noticed from driving this car on public roads is that the more you push it, the better it grips to the road. It's sensational. And judging by its character, I really do believe that this car was engineered for the track. It's such an angry animal when you get close to its limits. It's fabulous. And finally, you might have noticed that I didn't really talk about the engine, and that's because it's exactly the same unit that you can find in the regular RS Trophy, which I did a review on about 6 months ago or so. It's the same 4-cylinder engine, it also produces 300 horsepower, and it is very, very good. It pulls very well from 2500 RPM, and honestly, I don't really think this car needed more power. So sending 300 horsepower to the front wheels is enough. And speaking of that, please make sure to keep your hands firm on the steering wheel, because this car, like I've said in the review of the regular RS Trophy, suffers from quite a lot of torque steer. But yeah, what an amazing car this is. It does cost a lot, around 55,000 euros, the one I'm sitting in. And before driving it, I said to myself, there's no way a front wheel drive hot hatchback can justify that kind of a cash. But now I'm at the opposite side of a spectrum, and I think this car is worth every penny. Just have a look at the prices of all the upgrades that this car received, and mind you, a carbon bonnet alone is worth about 2,000 euros. Add those prices to what a regular RS Trophy costs, and then you'll see why this car is definitely worth 55,000 euros. And from the moment you step inside the car and you start up the engine, this thing feels very special. It really does. It might not look like it from the outside, but when you drive it, you become aware very quickly that this car was built with one thing in mind: the driving experience. It's a no-nonsense, no compromises race car for the road. It's loud, it's silly, and it's pointless, but all of that just adds to the appeal of this machine for us car fanatics. It's not perfect, of course, it still has a notchy manual transmission, this is the only color combo you can get, and because Renault doesn't produce a two-door Megane anymore, these back doors are pretty pointless. I applaud Renault for doing this type of a car again, and I think everyone else should do the same thing, because as things stand right now, especially during these crazy times, the Trophy R might be the last of its kind from Renault Sport. But that's been it for today's video, my friends. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure you're subscribed for plenty more videos to come, including with this car. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you around.